Welcome to The Gathering Greenhouse, a podcast to help us grow together. I'm Steve.
I'm David.
And John is not here today. We don't even have a camera where he would be to show an empty chair, but you can imagine an empty chair.
The chair is empty.
It's still there. I see it. So Matt's going to have to really fill in the gaps for the missing of John. Or maybe not.
I feel like we could, do a whole riff on the chair is empty, the tomb is empty.
Oh.
But that's probably a little sacrilegious because then we're equating John to Jesus and no.
Right. Yeah, you're right. Never mind. That was a bad idea.
Not a thing. Yeah.
Speaking of things that we shouldn't do.
They say he sings like the angels, though. Don't you think?
No, he's got a buttery voice. That's what the word on the street is. I like that description, too. What do you picture as a buttery voice? Like a croissant?
I love croissants.
They're great.
Man, I do.
You know what? I'll tell you a little, just a very quick rabbit trail. Went to Basali's because I hear great things about it. They're remodeling. There's nothing worse than showing up to a place.
And it's not even open?
It's not even open. Completely closed. There's nothing worse than showing up thinking of all the things you're going to try.
Yeah.
And then it's closed. So, you're like, there's nowhere else even to go.
So the thing about that is that place is awesome.
Yeah.
Right? It's like some places say it's like best bakery in the state.
Supposedly got bought by someone else.
I don't know.
And they've been making some changes.
The problem is if you don't go at the right time, they don't have anything.
Yeah.
But that's because it's so
You got to
good.
go early. I had a day off. Maria was off. She wasn't working till a little bit later. I'm like, look, right when the kids get on the bus, we're going there.
Yeah.
And it was like, I rarely have time to do that with
it
her.
It also used to be really close to the church.
Oh, really? That's a bummer, too.
Well, you know where the Starbucks is out on 741?
Yeah. I mean, which one? We got like
we just
7
drove
of them.
past it on our way back from
Okay.
lunch.
Yes.
Right? So it was right across the street from that.
Okay.
So it is a great location. But
Yeah.
Anyways.
Well, this is the exact opposite of Basali's, and
you just said exact.
Exactly.
Like Easter
eggs. We have so many great Easter puns. I mean, there's a million egg ones.
I sent a text to my kids yesterday that said Happy Palm Sunday, and it had, is it a GIF or a GIF?
It's either. It's honestly either. There's a debate on that one. What do you think, Matt?
The original creator
calls it GIF.
Of that term calls it GIF.
Oh, GIF.
I'm pretty sure of.
I call it GIF because GIF is peanut butter.
Yeah.
But everyone calls it GIF. So
Yeah. So what did your kid say?
So I sent him a text that said Happy Palm Sunday.
Yeah.
With a GIF of a whole bunch of people face palming. Yeah. So, yeah. All right.
I guess I should show the camera. So we were trying Peeps last week.
We did, yeah.
And we found out that none of us really likes Peeps that much, except for maybe Matt. He considers himself a Peep connoisseur, but he didn't even really love the things we had. But I brought in the worst of all Peeps that I've ever seen, which is Dr. Pepper flavored Peeps.
It is not what the doctor ordered.
It is not. It smells kind of funky. I'm going to give one. Since David can't try them, I'm going to give one to Matt. He
doing my annual fast that I do from Palm Sunday to Easter. Okay. I don't eat anything from the whole week.
I can't even hardly smell Dr. Pepper.
That's not true. Dr. Pepper.
You can? Slightly. It's like a marshmallowy.
Yeah.
Which, vanilla Dr. Pepper sounds like it could be good. Does that exist?
It's a cream soda.
Okay. So why don't they have marshmallow?
Wait, what do you mean
Pepsi
cream soda Dr. Pepper?
It's like cream and something else. I can't think of.
Why can't Dr. Pepper just be Dr. Pepper?
It's Peeps can't just be Peeps anymore.
Nothing can just be anything
No,
anymore.
they can't. All right.
Why can't we just go back to the good old days?
Okay. No. At first, I was like, this tastes like Dr. Pepper. And then immediately, it does not taste good.
It's a weird.
Yeah.
Matt's going to like it.
Of course he is. No. He wasn't really excited about it.
Matt likes everything.
But immediately, does it not? Don't you get Dr. Pepper immediately?
I do, but then I get a very strange, unnatural marshmallow taste.
Yes, that's exactly what I got. It was like, oh, Dr. Pepper. No, it's weird. Like chemically.
It's like that gum. I don't remember what kind it is that you put in your mouth and you chew it, and like for the first 3 chews, it's awesome, and then it's like trying to chew a rock.
Yeah,
the taste is gone.
Double bubble or
I don't know, but
there's a lot of them that are like that.
I did.
Everybody gives it out at Halloween.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I did find and try cotton candy Peeps.
Okay, I almost got
That actually makes sense,
But
though.
was it cotton candy
So,
or was it Peeps that tasted like cotton candy?
So-
Because they make both.
Yeah.
I'd be good with either of those.
I almost got that because I saw.
It was straight cotton candy with the Lucky Charms marshmallows in the shapes of Peeps.
Okay,
It was
sounds.
awesome.
I'd be down with that. I'm a Lucky Charms guy.
That was
You like
super
Lucky
good.
Charms?
Yes. It was like eating.
Whose podcast
Lucky
is
I don't know.
this?
Matt,
right?
Matt is really passionate about it. He is passionate. I told you he's a Peeps connoisseur.
I am.
We got him started on the Peeps.
I guess everybody's got to be good
He
at
gets
something.
his Easter basket is just Peeps.
It actually is.
It's just Peeps. There's enough Peeps stuff out there. Walmart is really bad for that. I haven't been there. I've just gone to the dollar store for these ones, but
Every week I come in here with high hopes that this is gonna be the
great.
week when we do a great podcast.
well, when I saw that, I had to since we did the Peeps one, and we are almost at Easter. And
I know.
it fits right in there.
Well,
The
no, it
Peeps will be
doesn't
gone.
at all.
For
Look,
you only
these are,
see it-
what are these chickens? What do chickens have to do with Easter?
because the the resurrection,
there was a
new
chicken
life,
in
spring,
the garden
spring.
before. Yeah, no.
Okay, never mind. Well,
All right.
yes,
Moving on.
I have some exciting questions.
Nice. Excellent. Excellent.
Today for our podcast. Did you know that eggshells are good for your garden? Did you know that?
So are coffee beans or coffee
Oh, really?
grounds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's another use for it.
In fact, if you ask at Starbucks, they'll give you
Yeah.
used coffee grounds you can put in your garden. Yeah.
So here's a question for you. Is that at Easter time, there are a lot of people who go to church on Easter Sunday
Yep.
that may not go any other time of the year or may not come regularly or just feel a sense of, I want to go to church because maybe I grew up that way or whatever the reason may be. So why do you think that is? Why do so many people come to church on Easter or feel the need to go to church on Easter?
Yeah. So I think there's a shallow answer and there's a deeper, more profound answer.
Let's start with the shallow.
So I think the shallow answer is just that, people like traditions and people are generally prone to do what everybody else is doing.
Yeah.
And Easter remains one of those few times when everybody goes to church. And so since everybody goes to church, everybody goes to church. And I think at that level, there's this part of it, the tradition of getting dressed up and you get the new Easter outfit or the Easter bonnet. Do you have your Easter bonnet yet?
I do. Oh,
All
gosh.
right.
I've had that picked
Awesome.
out for a couple years.
Wow. I can't wait. I cannot wait.
But do you think it's the same? So, would you say the same thing? Like the people who feel that need at Christmas time, it's the same person or same type of person?
Right. So is
there a bigger want at Easter than Christmas?
So I think it is the same at the shallow level.
Yeah.
I think it is the same. I think it's more at Easter because it's more at Easter.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But there are pastors out there who are much holier and more righteous than us.
Yeah.
Who judge those kinds of people and call them the creasters.
Yeah.
No, we don't
Which
do that.
has a really cool name, I will say.
I don't think it is.
You don't like the name Creaster?
No, I think it's something.
What about Linner? Do you like Linner? Brunch. That's a more popular one. It's a combining of two words.
Yeah. So Linner. No, I don't like that at all. How about Lupper?
Lupper?
Can we go Lupper?
That's even better.
I love that.
Yeah. All right.
So creasters.
Second lunch.
Yeah.
That's probably better.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I think it is the same. Now let's go to a deeper level.
Yeah. Well, can I ask one question before we go deeper?
Yeah.
Is it with Easter, right? It's actually tied to the Jewish calendar because we know it took place during Passover. So we can be confident that we're actually celebrating on the same day with similar celebrations to the early church, right?
Yes.
With Christmas, not the same thing. It's not actually.
Right.
It's actually tied to a holiday that was turned into Christmas. So, do you think there's anything there
No.
as well? Okay.
You're 100% right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Easter, we know, yeah, absolutely 100%. However, 99.9%
Yeah.
of people don't think that deeply about
No,
it.
they
right?
don't.
Like,
Only
they just-
people
right.
who work in a church.
Yeah, they're just like, yeah, I go because I go.
Yeah.
So I think on a deeper level, though, there's something that within all of us, there is a sense that there's something more than us. And everybody processes that a little bit different, but we are not alone, right? And I'm not talking about aliens. I'm saying there's something that sits outside of the universe as we know it, that is bigger than us, that is better than us, that is somehow responsible for us, like as a creator, a sustainer. And we all have a sense of this.
Yeah.
And we have that sense in a lot of different ways. Like if we have a sense of morality, if we have a sense of ethics, where does that come from? And that's where it comes from.
Yeah.
You know, we have a sense that there is ultimate justice. Well, where does that come from? You know, that comes from outside of us. And so I think that there's a real sense in which that longing to understand what the something more is at a very deep level that maybe people don't even recognize is often what drives them to say something like, I should go to church sometime.
Yeah.
And they don't even fully understand why but they're just like, it's a good thing to do.
Right.
It's a good thing to go to church sometime. And Easter's the best time to do that because you can go on Easter and nobody has any expectations of you.
Are you so when you're preparing your sermon, are you thinking of those people when you're writing it? So to what extent is that just one demographic you're speaking to, or do you say, hey, if I have one group that I'm really talking to, these are the people. I almost don't care about the people who come throughout the rest of the year. Easter, I'm caring about like how do I convince someone that God should be important in their life.
Mostly yes.
Yeah.
I am speaking to that very very specific demographic. So my Easter sermon preparation is different than any other sermon preparation of the year, except for maybe Christmas Eve. Maybe Christmas Eve is in the same category. But for Easter, I am absolutely saying to myself, how do I, and it's not necessarily convince, because I don't expect to convince somebody in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But how do I plant some seeds in this person's mind and heart that maybe will come to fruition later?
Yeah.
Or maybe how do I just raise some thoughts for them that they say, I need to think about this more. So
because ultimately it's up to them.
It is.
Because we live in a day and age of you can easily find a refute to anything you want to find a refute to.
Yep.
It exists.
Yep.
Right. We live in the age of information where, there's always some thought out there.
Yeah. Now the side benefit is if you've been a Christian for 50 years, what I'm going to say on Sunday is still going to benefit you.
Yeah.
Right? Because what I'm very intentional on Easter, I alternate years. So one year I'll talk about something kind of apologetics. Like last year, I talked about the tomb as a crime scene.
Yeah.
And how as a detective you can kind of unwrap where the body went, right? And we'll talk about that later, I think. But so this year I'm taking a different approach. This year I'm not really going down the apologetics route. This year I'm talking about felt needs, right? And how Jesus and how the resurrection speaks to our felt needs.
Yeah.
But if you've been a Christian for 50 years, it's good for you to hear the apologetic side because that helps you have more confidence in your own faith, and it also helps you know how to talk about your faith. And it's good for you to hear the felt need side because even if you've been a Christian for 50 years, you still sometimes struggle with issues like doubt and loss and fear and guilt. And we're going to talk about all that stuff. And so there's still benefit for everybody. Yeah. But I am really targeting the people who I may not ever get to talk to again. And so if I only get one shot at you, you're going to get the gospel.
Yeah. And a lot of what we base our faith on is kind of how we grew up in church. If you, especially if you hadn't been to church in a long time, it's whatever your experience was in my group, small group that I'm in. We were talking a little bit about our backgrounds of how we grew up, and one person was saying that it was a lot about like they would say, "Hey, pray this prayer so you don't go to hell," as a little, and there was very much a lot of people who were like, as little kids, that's a very scary thought. Yeah. So it's like, well, I don't want to go to hell, so I should go. Yeah, of course I'm going to. But then there's always this like judgmental God that you have because it's like, well, I'm a little kid. What I do? I don't want to go to hell. Like, why would this?
Yeah, but I've heard stories about you as a little kid. You were going to hell.
Okay. Well, my church.
No, that's actually
that
not
was
true.
It was my church.
I mean,
was
it's
not
true
like,
that he was
okay.
going to hell.
Yes,
Because everybody is.
Right.
But I haven't heard stories about him. As far as I know, he
No.
wasn't a Hellraiser.
Thankfully, I did not go to a church like that.
Okay, I
no.
did.
Did you? Yeah. I know that there's a lot of people that have had experiences like that, but you get this view of God as God the judge and Jesus the savior,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I think that's an unfair representation of God. But when you live in a church like that, it's easy to see how people come up with that thought.
Yep. So yeah, we won't be doing that on Sunday.
Okay, good.
There'll be none of that stuff going on.
I don't know how long I would stick around here if that's what our game plan was for Easter Sunday.
We're gonna scare people into heaven.
No, I was like, you know what? That's cool, guys. Peace out. Okay, so let's talk about another really important thing on Easter for us as a church.
Yeah.
It may not be true in every circumstance, but for us, if you came this past Sunday, as many of you did, we were close to 800. So we've been, we were expecting a little bit of a down Sunday, if we're honest, because of spring breaks and, some other things that play going on. And, it was a huge Sunday.
Yeah.
So how can let's talk a little bit about space. What are some things that we could do to make space? And I'd love to chime in here too, because I'm kind of the one responsible that everybody has a seat and a parking spot.
Yeah. If you know Steve, you know that he's super excited about this. And you know that partly just because this is the kind of thing, but you know that right now listening to him, you're super excited about this.
I am. Because
you're kind of like, you're giving off all your kind of excitement.
Yes, because
it's almost like you had too much coffee.
I did have a cup of coffee, but just one. No, because to me, I work in connections. I live and breathe connections. So it's very easy to me when I live it out for me to say, this is really important. This is super important. Most people don't think about it as much as me, but to me, it directly links to our mission statement.
Yep.
If we want more people to know about Jesus, we have to make sure there's room for them to come and hear more about Jesus. Right. So literally, if you are helping us make more room, you are, in a sense, helping us accomplish the mission that God has given us as a church. You're taking a part in our mission, and I believe the mission that God gave all of us as Christians.
Right. So let's tell a parable.
Yeah.
So I go on this fishing trip every spring, either spring or fall, depends on the year, with my small group, right? And the reality is, in our group, there's only one guy who loves to fish.
Okay.
The rest
Mike
of us are. I wasn't going to name names. Okay. The rest.
Does he really love fishing?
Oh yeah.
And he goes fishing outside of
all the time.
Okay.
All the time.
Really?
The rest of us are like, I think one might fish sometimes.
Yeah.
But me and one of the other guys, we fish once a year. That's when we go on the trip, right? So now I, grew up in Michigan, so I know how to fish.
Yeah.
Right.
Are you fishing in Lake Michigan? Or are you fishing in some other lakes?
When we go north, no, we fish. It's kind of the outlet.
Could you fish on the shore of Lake Michigan?
Oh yeah, you could. I mean,
it'd be hard to catch something from there.
I mean, yeah, people do it. But you got like piers and stuff.
So you would go inland because you live very close to Lake
inland
Michigan.
Lakes is where you'd fish for sure. But you can go out like on the piers of Lake Michigan and fish off of those. Then a lot of people do that.
Okay.
So anyway, when we go on our fishing trip, right? So let's just say I don't know how to fish. I've never fished.
Yeah.
And so we're going on this trip and we're going to get up there and I'm going to be like, okay, here's this fishing pool. Now what? We got to put the worm out. I don't know how to put my worm in it. So say somebody who knows how to fish, I'll bait your worm for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, where'd we get the worm? Well, this guy over here, he went and bought the worms.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't know what worm to buy, but this guy over here bought the worms.
You need a specific worm.
Well, it depends on what you're fishing for.
Really?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Right.
I kind of assumed all worms.
A night crawler.
No, but
it's a night crawler.
I think in a sense, I know that you would need different types of bait for different kinds of fish.
You're distracting my parable.
All right.
This is probably, when Jesus told his parables, he was probably,
like, silence.
This is probably how it actually happened. Peter kept interrupting.
Well, there was the guy who fell out the window. That wasn't with Jesus.
Was Paul.
I know, that was Paul. That might be me.
Anyway, so we get to we're fishing, and
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I don't know how to put the worm. So the guy's like, I'll put your worm on your hook. So he baits my hook for me.
Yeah.
And then I throw my hook in, and I get a hit right away. And it's just, it's this really nice sized smallmouth bass. And I don't know that because I don't know how to fish.
Yeah.
But I reel it in. I'm like, look at this. And now what do? We got to get it off the hook. Well, I've never fished. I don't know how to. So another guy's like, I'll take it right now.
Yeah.
So now we've got a fish.
Yeah.
Who's responsible for catching the fish?
Everyone in that story.
So let's list them.
Yeah, the guy who organized the trip, the guy who purchased the bait or dug up the bait, the person who helped you get it out of the water and take off the hook. So there's
The guy who baited the hook.
5-6 people right there,
And me,
Yeah.
right? And me, because I caught
Right.
it. I reeled it in.
You put it into the water.
All right. So, and this is true in most of life,
Mm-hmm.
is that rarely are we responsible for everything that happens by ourselves.
Yeah.
Right. And when it comes to seeing people get connected to Jesus, which is what we're all about, it's a team effort.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something that one person does. Now, my job on Sundays is to get up and teach the gospel.
Yeah.
Right. And that's important because, that's the fishing.
Right.
But I can't do that if a whole bunch of other people aren't doing their jobs
Yeah.
first and better.
Right.
Right. So when we say we want to, get people connected to Jesus, before we can get them connected to Jesus, they've got to be here.
Yeah.
Right. And they're only going to get here if somebody invites them.
Yeah.
And so somebody's got to invite them. And once they get here, they've got to be willing to listen to what we have to say. And
Yeah.
that means there has to be a space for them.
Yeah.
And not just a space, but it's got to be a comfortable and inviting space.
Right.
Because if they get here and everything's inconvenient and everything's frustrating, they're going to sit in the service like this, just waiting to get
Yeah.
out if they don't leave. Right.
Right.
So what we want to do at the gathering, and this is a big part of who we are, we want to create space that is comfortable and inviting.
Yeah.
And most of the time, we've got a great team that can do that. They do a great job. But we know on Easter, it's doubly hard.
It is.
Because you have double the amount of people, right?
Yeah.
And so it's important that as a team, we all pull together. It can't just be me. It can't just be you. It can't just be our teams. It's got to be the whole church. We're all pulling together to create space that is comfortable and inviting for anybody who shows
Yeah.
up. Because then we hope that they're going to get connected to Jesus,
Right.
which is awesome. So that's what we want to talk about, right? Is how do we do it?
How do we do it?
I don't know.
How can I take part in helping more people?
You being,
Just
Joe
average
or
person.
Jane, member
Average
of the
person.
church.
Yeah. What advice
All
can
right.
you give
Well,
them?
let's make a list.
Yeah, if you can.
All right. Well, you go first. We'll go alternate.
Yeah.
We'll go as long as we can.
So the first one is if you can, if there isn't a good reason for you to come to a later service, come to 8:15. I would love to see 250 people in the worship
that'd
center
be awesome.
at 8:15. I would feel so much better about fitting the rest of the people into the rest of the services.
Yeah.
And I think that's doable. We said last year we had 200 people, so that's not a huge jump.
Yeah.
In the
Right.
service. So maybe we.
Yeah.
Can we use overflow first service? So maybe
If
we
we
don't
had-
too
if we-
many.
if we had to, we
have
could.
to.
Yeah, if we had to, we could.
Yeah, the more people we can get to that one, the better we're going to be the rest
absolutely.
of the day.
So, and here's the thing: is that this Sunday,
come early.
This Sunday, there's no students.
Yeah.
Right. So the youth group's not meeting for Easter. They're going to be in the service with their families. So if you normally come at 11 because your kids are in youth,
Yep.
you can come at any time earlier.
Yeah.
8:15 is awesome.
You can.
Even if you move from 11 to 9:30,
See,
that helps.
What I would even love seeing is all those students go to the overflow, worship in the overflow room with your
There you go.
families.
Yeah.
I think that would be really cool.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
All right. So that's one thing they can do. So there's variants of this one, but I'm going to
Yeah.
pick part of it is park far away.
Yeah.
Now I think we're going to actually have a parking team helping you park.
Yes.
Right. But follow their instructions. Park as far away as you can.
Yeah.
So that we
Yeah.
leave the close space for the
Right.
people
They
who
have,
don't normally
they have
come.
a system for it to efficiently park everyone. So just follow the system.
Yeah.
Go along with it.
Right. Don't pull into the first spot.
Right.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing. They're good at it. They'll take care of you.
Yep. All right. Your turn.
Okay. So sit sit next to someone and introduce yourself.
Good one. Yeah.
So it's going to be.
We should rerun that video
I know,
we made.
we should. That would be a good idea.
We really need to do that.
Fun.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was
mental
a fun. That was a fun one. But yeah, that you don't know how much that helps the team who's seating people when we don't have to go up and say, "Hey, could you scoot over?" We don't want to do that. We would love it if people just did it by themselves. For one, they can focus on other things that are more important, like helping people find seats. They can focus on greeting people as they come in. So you can absolutely help us out by sitting towards the front, sitting right next to someone, and then saying, "Hi, my name is Steve. What's your
Steve,
name?"
I'm Dave. You don't have to say what's your
okay.
name. Just hi, my name is Steve.
And there you go. You have a new friend in the process. So
generally, they won't bite.
they won't.
And if they do bite back.
yeah,
Teach them a lesson.
But you said, hey, if we're persecuted,
That's not true.
it's actually, we should count it as a blessing.
Yeah, so if they
someone's
bite
a
you, say
jerk
thank
next to you,
you.
yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you for the blessing.
Yeah, thank you for the blessing. So
All right.
I think that's, you would help us out a lot if you can do that.
That's a good one. So here, I've got another one that's maybe a little lesser
Yeah.
important, but it's still good. Save the better donuts for somebody else,
Yeah.
right? You can still get a donut. We're getting extra donuts.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yes.
Never mind. Get
I'm
the
just
best
wondering
donut
now.
for yourself.
Today though, I question myself: did I order enough? Should I call and order more? That is always a question, which I think I'm going to call and order more.
I think you should call and order more.
That's what
for
I'm
sure.
thinking. I was
Yeah.
like, because I have to order at the beginning of the month, not knowing what the end of the
Yep.
month is going to be. But yeah.
All right, you got anything else?
I do. Yes.
All right.
Smile.
Good one. Good one. Yeah.
To me, so as someone who greets a lot of people when they enter the door, it's not hard to help someone have a good experience. It really isn't. It takes 10 seconds or less. Smile. Hey, nice to see you today. Bam. That's literally all you need to say to someone. I do occasionally get a frown. I usually, sometimes, 1 out of 100, I may get someone who doesn't even want to make eye contact with me.
Yeah.
But, everyone comes with their own background, and we love everyone who enters our door. So just by simply smiling and saying hi to people, you don't have to get into a conversation. Nice to see you today.
Yeah.
Move on with your time. If you want to get into a longer conversation, if you want to get to know someone, do that as well. But I tell my team every Sunday, it's as easy as that.
Yeah.
It's not hard. It's really easy for us to just make someone say, that was really nice.
Yep.
Hey, if you like what someone's wearing, nice outfit today.
Thanks.
Everybody loves a compliment. Little things like that, really easy.
Yep. Good. So here, mine is choose. If this is for you, choose to go to our second venue.
Yeah.
Right. Which is in the youth room.
Which it's gonna be awesome. I'm
Yeah.
actually really excited.
Super laid back. Super casual.
And we've
Yep.
made some big upgrades.
Yep. So
Matt actually was on the team putting some of that together, working hard the past couple weeks.
Yeah. So there's going to be a live band in there.
Yes.
They're going to do the exact same songs as we do in the big room.
And some people may be like, I actually really like this atmosphere. Smaller room.
Honestly,
different vibe.
If I was coming to church, that's where I'd be going.
You can grab a donut and dip right in there. And you could say that it's easier to get out to grab another donut.
That is a
sneak out
really
and grab
valid
another
point
one.
right
Yeah.
there.
No
You
one
don't
would
have
even
to-
know.
right, yeah.
Not everyone in the church would see it.
Yeah, that's the that's good. Anything else?
The other one is come early. I think that's always good.
Yep.
We kind of said that in the beginning. I wanted to say that. If you're coming with a large group, I would definitely recommend coming about 20 minutes early. That would be my recommendation, just so you can all get seats together, because it's going to be full. We're gonna throw every chair at it that we got. We're probably going to make some sections a little bit bigger because we're anticipating families to invite family. But come early because seating is limited, and if you all want to sit together, then it's a great idea.
Yeah, good. One last thing.
Yeah.
We actually have an overflow parking lot this year. So it's at a building that's called the Galleria, which is down
Which is
Yankee.
a cool, fancy name.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a little bit north of us on Yankee Street. It's the building that has the big glass and all kinds of things, big parking lot. And we'll have a shuttle running back and forth from that lot.
The whole time shuttle,
Starts at 7:15 in the morning. So if you want to go to the first service, it'll be there. For
sure.
So, if you're kind of the kind of person who doesn't mind parking a long ways away and, you want to make a little bit bit more room in the parking
Maybe
area.
you just have a fascination with shuttles.
Maybe
you just enjoy
like
them.
you just got back from Disney World and you kind of want to
Yeah.
remember riding a bus.
right. Or
Yeah.
maybe you used to be a bus driver at one point in
There
your
go.
life. You
Yeah.
know,
you know, that's my retirement dream is
being a bus driver.
at Disney World. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe we were going to go with the shuttle route. We can hire you once you're retired. You can shuttle.
No, I would love to like just be a bus driver at Disney World. That'd be so much fun.
I would want to drive the tram. Is that still that exists, right?
The tram? Is that like I don't know.
Isn't it? There's that like thing, the monorail, maybe.
The monorail, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to drive the monorail.
I don't think there's much driving. I think it's just like start and stop.
It's still be fun.
It would be. All right.
Great. Well, I
right.
think we got a lot of them there, so that's good.
Yeah.
So do all of those things.
Help us make space that is comfortable.
If you're
and
watching this on
welcoming.
your phone, hit the back, the 30 seconds back. Keep backing it up and watch it again.
Make a
Take
list.
notes.
Put
Take
it on your
notes.
refrigerator.
Yeah.
Yep.
Don't at me at that though. Number 3. Why is the resurrection such a big deal? It feels weird me even asking you this question. Working at a church.
I think it's the biggest deal.
Yeah.
I really do. For me personally, I think the resurrection is the key point in my belief, right? When someone says, "Hey, I'm going to get killed and I'm going to rise from the dead,"
Yeah.
we say, "You're nuts." When they do it, we say, "You're God."
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's it. To me, the fact that Jesus rose from the dead validated everything he said, everything he did, everything he taught.
Yeah.
And so it is the turning point of human history. If a man predicted his own resurrection and then did it, then we have to pay attention to what he says. And so for me, that's why it makes such a difference.
And doesn't Paul say if the resurrection didn't happen, then
What are we?
what are we? What are we doing here?
We're following a guy who died 2,000 years ago.
If we start questioning that, or if we don't believe it, then
Right.
we should all just quit.
Yeah.
You know. So it literally hinges our faith. Like if without
absolutely.
it, you know, it's not.
It is mind-boggling
Yeah.
to me that there are people out there who consider themselves Christians and don't believe in the resurrection.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, in all gentleness and respect, you're a fool.
Right.
Not you. Them.
Yeah. Right.
Because why follow someone so radically who calls for complete ownership of your life if that person is just like you?
Yeah.
There's no reason for it. Yeah. So that it's huge. It makes all the difference in the world.
So I think this question kind of goes along with this as well. Obviously, we said very important, so important that if this one thing is not true, then all of our faith just crumbles.
I'm out.
So the next one is, but how can we be confident in that? Like, how can we be confident in the resurrection?
Yeah.
Like, okay, that sounds. I mean, if we're being honest, like you said, if someone said they're going to raise again, we call them crazy. It's just speaking from a everyday life perspective. It sounds crazy to say someone died and rose again, right? That doesn't happen. You've never seen that happen. It's not supposed to happen. It shouldn't happen. So how can we be confident in something that's so really counter to what we should actually believe in the physical world?
Yeah. So you know that I'm not someone who has a lot of feelings.
Yes, I'm aware of that.
In fact, some would say none. I'm much more of a logical kind of thinker.
Which is good for this question.
Yeah. So for me, I want to know, like, is this actually a historical event? So let me give you just a couple quick thoughts.
Yeah.
I think actually somewhere on our YouTube page, there's a long video
There
of
is.
me talking about this.
Yes.
So just a couple quick thoughts. So number one, there are a lot of non-Christian historical sources, people who are contemporaries of Jesus and in the century after him, who wrote about historical events in the land of Israel, right? Most of them were not Israelites. They were Roman authors. And all of them include mentions of Jesus' resurrection. Now, they didn't believe, right? So, but what they're saying is there was this guy and his followers claim that he rose from the dead.
Right.
And the fact that they're saying that, it's not proof of the resurrection, but what it is it's proof
another
that
source.
It's proof that people believed in the resurrection right after Jesus lived.
Yeah.
So eyewitnesses of Jesus in his life believed in his resurrection. That's kind of a starting point.
Yeah.
Here's
That it wasn't just all made up. We have
didn't just-
actual historical
it wasn't
sightings.
It wasn't 11 guys guys sitting in a room saying, let's make up a good
Let's
story
write
and
a
get
story,
rich.
yeah.
Right? Because they didn't get rich. So this is point number 2.
Yeah.
They all died.
And they're pretty gruesome deaths.
Right.
Yeah.
They suffered. Their friends suffered.
Not something you may want to be willing to die in that manner for
Yeah.
something that's not true.
Right. Now, I can actually believe that there might be one person who is really deluded, and so they would die for a lie. Mm-hmm. And I can also believe there might be one person who is so maniacal that they would die for a lie. I have a really hard time believing that 11 guys who turned the world upside down with their writings and their message were all willing to consistently stick to a story that got them killed without any of them saying, "Oh, we made it up."
Yeah.
That's a powerful evidence.
And the fact that they're all ordinary people from ordinary walks of life.
Yep. So that's not that. No, we're not all the way there yet. Right?
Yeah.
But having said that, so historically, we know that there were eyewitnesses who believed in the resurrection in the first century. We also know that those eyewitnesses were all willing to die for that story. But here's the thing. Where's the body?
Yeah.
This matters. Where is the body?
Right. This kind of ties into your sermon from last Easter.
Yes.
It very much matters. Is it if I'm a a Roman official and I want to squelch all this resurrection talk, produce the body. Well, how can you refute that? I've got the body right here. Proof. He did not resurrect.
Yeah. So this is for me, logically speaking, the greatest evidence. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I haven't even mentioned the Bible. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, the Bible says he rose. That's enough.
Yeah.
But I'm not even going to need to mention the Bible, because here's the thing. There's two sources of power in ancient Jerusalem, right? You had the Jewish religious leaders who really, they ruled the people.
Yeah.
They were under the thumb of Rome, but Rome actually gave them a lot of freedom. So you had the religious leaders, the Sanhedrin, right? The Pharisees, the Sadducees. They're the ones who arrested Jesus. They're the ones who put him on trial. And then they couldn't condemn him to death.
Yeah.
Rome didn't give him that power. So the second power is the power of Rome. This is Pontius Pilate. And they brought him to Pontius Pilate and said, hey, give us a death warrant for this guy.
Yeah.
Right? So those are your two power groups.
Yeah.
Those are the two groups that do not want Jesus to come back to life.
Right.
Right? And they really don't want there to be a story out there that Jesus has come back to life.
Yeah.
Well, we know from non-biblical, non-believing historical sources that there were stories out there that Jesus had come back to life in the first century.
Right.
We know that there were 11 guys, and more actually, who were telling this story. So all they had to do, as you just said, is produce the body.
Yeah.
And the two most powerful groups in Jerusalem.
Yeah. The Sanhedrin definitely had a reason to produce a body. Yeah. You could say the Romans, maybe they didn't care that much, but I think they cared because they cared about controlling the people.
Right. And so
they do not want riots and other things that they were by reading the Bible, you knew that they were afraid of those things happening.
So you had two groups of people who literally could do whatever they wanted.
Yeah.
But they couldn't produce the body.
They couldn't produce the body.
And so that, to me, is a powerful statement that he rose again.
Yeah.
He rose again. Now, there's a lot of other evidences, and you could walk through them. In fact, if you want to watch the Easter sermon last year.
Because you could say, there's a lot of things you could say, this is what happened to the body. But we, like you said, we probably don't have the time to get into that today. But if you do watch that video, you get into more of here's the three main things that you could say, this is what happened.
Yeah. And if you watch the sermon from last Easter, I do some nice drawings too.
Okay.
You
so an extra reason to go back in
time. Some of my artiste work. Yeah.
See, what did David wear last Easter? Is he going to wear the same thing this Easter?
There's a good chance.
There's a good chance.
I don't know. What did I wear last Easter?
I don't know.
Maybe I should go back and look.
Make sure you don't wear the same thing.
Yeah. You mean
you're safe. I feel like you can wear the same thing every Easter. It's a year apart. What's wrong with that?
You don't think I go out and get a new Easter outfit every year?
Maybe you do. I'm not sure.
I'm much more excited to see what you're going to wear on Easter. Yeah. Because you're always dressed to the nines on Easter. So
my top hat and cane.
I'll probably have like a jean jacket and a fishing shirt.
All right, perfect. The Fisher of Men. No.
Nice. Yeah, nice.
We'll bring it all back around. Right. All right. Well, that's all I got as far as Easter. I think you did a great job explaining that. Hey, if you want to know more reasons of why it's important to have Jesus the Lord of your life and why Easter is so important for all of us, and then why you should come back again to learn more about him, I think that Easter is a great opportunity for that. And let's tease our sermon series coming up, because I think, to me, when someone comes on Easter, this is a great thing for them to come back for, a great reason to come back. Don't just come for Easter, come back because you're going to want to come back to hear the sermon series we've got coming up.
Yeah, so our next sermon series, starting the week after Easter, is Life's Biggest Questions.
Yeah, great
So
follow-up
I'll run them through them real quick,
Yeah.
so tease them all. So the first one is God really loving?
Okay. That's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great...
Like, would a loving God do this?
Yeah. So,
how could a loving God do that?
Yeah, people have a lot of objections to the idea that God is love, and we're going to kind of talk about some of those.
It was some of the first questions that I had when I was like, I don't know if I want to be a Christian, but I got to get this question answered first.
Yep. So question 2 is, why do you trust the Bible? Right? What's so special about the Bible?
It's a book written by men.
Yeah.
Why should I care about it?
What's the point about that?
Yeah.
Question 3 is, why is Christianity so exclusive? Right? Like, why do you guys say Jesus is the only way?
Yeah.
And so we're going to kind of talk about the objections people have to that idea.
Can I just follow any religion and be good?
Yep.
Yeah.
Question 4 is, why do bad things happen to good people? Right? That's, a lifelong question that everybody has. And it's a little bit tied to the question of whether or not God is love, but I think it's a question that deserves a sermon of its own.
So if you got questions, we got answers. So come to our next sermon series. And I think no matter if you have questions or you've been a Christian a long time, you have friends who need to know the answer to the questions. And I think you do a really good job of giving it to us in a way that we can take that and just use it, put it to action, put it right in action in a way that it's very user-friendly for the person listening to it. I can take this directly and I can apply it to my life.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
So we'll see. All right.
Well, thanks for joining us. And hopefully we'll see you back here after Easter.
Me?
Right? Well, no, not you, but everyone watching. Everyone watching.
Well, let's just say we'll see you at Easter.
See you at Easter.
At 8:15.
Yes, we will see you there.
8:15.
And do all the things we asked you to.
Right.
Come early, smile, whatnot.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks.